Hey, come here and check this out. If you want to be able to play 7-note scales and understand how the minor scale, the major scale, all the different modes and all that work, then good to start with just a basic scale, basic rock scale, which would be your Aeolian shape, or sometimes called your minor scale, which of course is built off the major scale. And that's what I'm going to show you today. All right, be sure to like, subscribe, and share. I do have a free course out there for you. If you like this lesson, you're going to love the free course. It's a 7-day free course to help you unlock the fretboard, play with confidence and ease, and improvise intuitively. And that's over at justpickuptheguitarandgo.com. Today we're going to look at the 7-note scale, which is the Aeolian mode or the minor scale. Again, everything's built off the major scale. This is actually the 6th shape of the major scale, but we often call it the Aeolian mode. And I'm actually going to play the Aeolian mode today, or the minor scale, which sounds like this. I'm going to play the 3-note per string shape today. In past lessons, I've showed you the box shape. There's a few different ways to play it, but I'm going to show you the 3-note per string shape today, which is going to be played on the 6th string at 5-7-8, the 5th string 5-7-8, the 4th string and the 3rd string at 5-7-9. Then we get to the 2nd string, bump up a little bit, and play 6, 8, 10. And then on the 1st string, you can play 7, 8, 10. And that's the whole Aeolian mode, or sometimes called the natural minor scale, or the 6th shape of the major scale. Now you got to be able to play this thing backwards and forwards in order to get into songwriting with this, and playing licks with this, and playing over songs with this. So you want to be able to first map it out, and then be able to play back and forth. And I've got some exercises in previous lessons for you if you want to go check those out. But basically we want to be able to do this. Now, if that's something that you have trouble with and you got to slow that down, put it to a metronome, maybe play it slower, then speed up the metronome, get a little faster with it. You want to work on your alternate picking. One thing I like to do is move my hand back and forth along the strings. It allows me to keep my picking angle the same along each string. And I do alternate picking, so I go down, up, down. Then when I get to the 5th string, I go up, down, up. The 4th string, down, up, down. The 3rd string, up, down, up. The 2nd string, down, up, down. And then the 1st string, up, down, up. And then I kind of reverse the process as I go backwards. Some people are better at economy picking, and what they would do, or what you might want to do, is go ahead and play down, up, down on the 6th string. And since you just did a downstroke on the 6th string, you'd ride on through to the 5th string and play down, and then up, down, and then go straight on through to the 4th string, down, up, down. Straight on through to the 3rd string, down, up, down. Straight on through to the 2nd string, down, up, down. Straight on through to the 1st string, down, up, down. So it would sound like this. I'm going to do it slow because I can't do it very fast, but it sounds like this. And then backwards you would go up, down, up on all strings. So it's a different way to think about it, and it actually helps you get faster. So if you want to be a real virtuoso, then economy picking might be your friend. I'm still working on that one. I'm better at alternate picking, legato, things like that, but my alternate picking is lacking. I'm still working on it. So there's all kinds of things to work on. Even if you know how to play guitar, there's still all kinds of things to work on, right? So it's a beast. You never learn this thing fully. You just got to keep on working on it, keep on adding things to your vocabulary, and keep on getting better and better and better. But let's go and look at some licks that you can use with the Aeolian or the natural minor scale. I got my backing track queued up. Just going to play the scale backwards and forwards a couple times. And the idea there is to kind of fill out the rhythm of the song. When you're writing leads for songs, you want to kind of track those rhythms and figure out exactly where you want to play. Because if we just play the scale backwards and forwards, it's not going to sound right. It's going to sound monotonous. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and put some groove into it. So even just going backwards and forwards, we can put some of that groove into it. The idea there is to accent the beats as you play, so that's basically what I was doing. Now I can show you some licks over that. I can play a little bit and I can break down what I'm doing for you. Okay, so first of all is melody. When you're playing over a backing track, you want to start to feel that beat. We've already talked about that a little bit. You gotta make sure you get in there with the a lot of vibrato, making it sing. Those are the kinds of things that you want to work on. If you listen to the really big players like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani, you hear a lot of that in their music. And that doesn't come from raw talent. That comes from years and years and years of practice. So you've got to work on those things. When I'm improvising, I don't do it as well as I do when I'm recording. What I do when I'm recording, I get it to sound the way that I want to. So that might take a lot of takes. So when I'm improvising, my goal is to try to get that as close to what I can do on a recording, but it's still a work in progress. And that's something that every guitarist has to play with to make sure that they understand that that is a challenge, and that's something they got to keep working on, keep working on, keep working on. So once you get that groove down pat, you can start throwing in some licks. And you can take very, very simple licks like this one right here, which is found within that scale, because I'm playing the same notes that are in the scale, but you might think of that as more of a pentatonic-y type lick. But I'm playing here on the 10th, the 8th, and then on the 3rd string at the 9th. So the 10th and the 8th on the 2nd string, and then the 9th on the 3rd string, and I'm playing. It's like a hammer on from the 8th to the 10th, and then a pull off from the 10th to the 8th on the 2nd string. Then I'm picking on the 9th fret of the 3rd string, and then going back and then doing that little hammer on and pull off by picking on the 8th fret of the 2nd string and then hammering on pull off. So you can also pick on the 10th fret as well. Or you can just go ahead and make it more of a legato type sound. So there's all kinds of different ways you can do that. Play with picking different ways on that. All alternate picked, or some legato, or legato in a different way, or all legato. All kinds of different things you can do there. But of course you can do that across all kinds of different shapes there. 1st and 2nd strings on the 7th and the 10th of the 1st string, and then hammering on to the 10th on the 2nd string. Or we can play on the 1st string, I can play at the 8th and the 10th. Or then I can go back to the 2nd string, play that same shape that I was playing before. Or I can play on the 2nd string at the 6th and the 10th. And then play on the 3rd string at a couple different frets here. I can play on the 7th fret or the 9th. Or this one. There's all kinds of different ways you can think about that. But that little lick right there gives you all kinds of different options and variations across all the strings. And it's just a simple little pentatonic style lick. But we can go ahead and expand that all the way across. I can also go ahead and add in a note on my next string. So instead of playing and then going back, I can go ahead and play and then play the next note in the scale, which on the 3rd string here, I just played the 9th, I could play the 7th. And then walk back up. Or make it legato. Same thing on the 1st and the 2nd strings, where I could play on the 7th and the 10th. And then the way the scale fits in here, I can play it on the 2nd string at the 10th and the 8th. And then go back up. Make it more legato and make it more easier, I can also play on the 8th and the 10th of both the 1st and the 2nd strings. So you can put all kinds of stuff like that in there. Looking at 3-note per string shapes, you can do things like this. And that pattern repeats across all 6 strings. So basically the pattern just sounds like this. And then you start over, 2nd string to the 3rd string, 3rd string to the 4th string. Again, we're just going down the scale. So that pattern, little Paul Gilbert-style pattern, is basically played on the 1st string, and we're playing on the 10th, the 8th, and the 7th. Then going to the 3rd string, playing on the 10th. Then walking back up the scale, playing on the 1st string, 7, 8, 10. Then going back down the scale, then going back down the scale on the 2nd string as well, where I'm going to play the 10, 8, and 6. Now you can take that same shape and just go across the whole fretboard with it. But you can go ahead and just take 2 strings and turn it into a little lick. Like, a couple ways you could do that. One would be like this. And then just go back up to it and do the same thing. Or we could just go ahead and play the first half of that. And then go back up. And then do the same thing over and over again. Make a legato. Like that. So you got all kinds of cool stuff in there. And then of course I could build on that. Like I could go ahead and play that little thing right there. And then go down the scale. And it kind of gives you a crescendo at the end. Something like that. So you can go ahead and play with all kinds of different licks, and it's going to give you all kinds of different sounds. I kind of put some of that in context over the backing track for you, just to give you an idea. Again, I'm improvising. It might not sound the best, but just to give you an idea of what you could do. I messed up there, but that was that lick that I showed you, this one right here. Just going backwards. So you can do that. You can go backwards with it. Or you can go ahead and pick a spot and just kind of stay there. Going up and down the scale. Try not to hit the wrong note. The idea is that you add lots and lots and lots of different things to your bag of tricks, and then of course you pull out the things that you want to play with, and anything that you need to work on, you can work on that in isolation. You could take 1 or 2 of these licks and just work on them in isolation, and then the next step would be to work on them within the context of a song or over a backing track. So you're not just mindlessly noodling, you've actually got some purpose in your practice, which is pretty important. And that's the process part of this. We want to get to the point where we do have a product, and we have a really good product that we want to share with the world. But to get there, we got to work on that process, right? We got to work on practice, making sure that we're nailing all this stuff the way we want to, and really getting it tight and playing well with it. And of course, there's all kinds of different tricks to getting everything tight and sounding good. You got to make sure you're muting the strings correctly. You got to make sure you're keeping your fingers as close to the fretboard as you possibly can, moving your hand in such a way where your pick angle stays the same, keeping your alternate picking tight. There's just all kinds of things you got to play with. And those are things that I do teach in some previous lessons as well. So be sure to like, subscribe, and share this channel with others. And also, if you like this lesson, you'll love my free course. It's over at justpickuptheguitarandgo.com. It's a 7-day course that will help you unlock the fretboard, pick this thing up, play with confidence, play with ease, and improvise intuitively, which is what I've been doing with a lot of these songs today. And then also, I'm going to extend this lesson because I want to show you how you can take the Aeolian scale and turn it into the harmonic minor, which opens up a lot more for you. And that is going to be an interesting sound, but it's still going to work over this backing track. It's still going to sound interesting. I'm also going to explore in that lesson over on Patreon, which is over at Just Pick Up the Guitar on Patreon. I'll also put the link in the description. I'm also going to explore the pentatonic some more, because I did that in the previous lesson. And then I'm going to go ahead and show the blues scale as well, because when you start adding in harmonic minors and blues scales and all kinds of cool stuff like that, it really changes the game, and it's going to make your playing that much more dynamic. So be sure to check that out. Don't forget to get my free course at justpickuptheguitarandgo.com. And let me know in the comments, who's your favorite virtuoso? I'll see you in the next one.